Hey folks, it's Tom, your frugal prepper. So, just thought I'd show you where I'm at, getting the air compressor going and the electric stuff. I kind of left off I got it powered on and working the other day, and so I've just worked on it a little bit here and there in the evenings and stuff, and kind of finished it up. And I've started working on the air compressor, and I think I've got it diagnosed now, and I'll show you what's going on with that. So, I'll start just by showing you the electric panel. So I've got the main service disconnect here, and then all my breakers, and then I've got everything labeled as to what it is, and then got breaker 3 and stuff written on the plug, so I know what plug each item on the circuit is on. Yes, ideally all this wire would be in conduit. I just don't have the money. And so what I'm trying to do is make sure that everything is properly wired, grounded, and is the sufficient or correct size wire for the amperage of the breaker. And, so that it's safe from overload and short. And you're not accidentally going to get shocked because something's not grounded. Like you touch that metal box, because the neutrals come loose and the wire's actually hot even though the item on the circuit doesn't work. You know how that goes. It'd be a bad day. So one of the things I still have to fix is the wire running up to this light does not have a ground, so I'm going to replace that eventually. It's just a 2-wire wire. It doesn't have a ground wire in it. So back in the old days, they didn't make your ground light fixtures. I think it's a good idea, and I'll get that fixed. You can see I've also labeled that one. I replaced that plug because it was just getting kind of loose, so now it's got a nice new tight plug in it. Also, I've any of the junction boxes like this, I went ahead and got grounding screw, drilled taps, if it didn't already have a tap spot, and I bonded the ground. Sorry about the exhaust. I bonded the ground to the junction box, so the junction box is grounded. Over here I went ahead and changed this out to a quad 20 amp instead of just a single 20 amp, just so I don't have to use plug multipliers. I got enough plugs to plug in my stuff. I do want to extend this circuit out eventually and put another plug over here so that I can plug my surge protector in without using this white extension cord. But that will come eventually. Also, so the garage door opener originally had an extension cord plugged into it and then running clear down. And then after I ran this wire, I got to thinking, I'd like to just put a plug up there for it. So I had to put a little junction box there, which is also grounded, so I could splice in that wire and put a little piece of length of wire in. And then I've got a plug up there just for the garage door opener. And so that comes down, and I went ahead and changed this over to a dual gang rather than trying to run the air compressor in. I just got a 220 plug and a 110 plug, 15 amp on this side. And so I am going to, I have the cover ordered. They don't carry the cover for this in stock at Lowe's. So it's ordered and it should be here tomorrow or the next day. And then that'll have the right cover on it too. So that pretty much covers the electrical. Also, this is the plug that comes off of the Traveler. This one needs its ground fixed. I've got it grounded right up there. It was just hanging out with no cover, hanging by the wires. So it's wired right, new plug, and the box is grounded there. But they did not ground at this switch. They just cut the ground wires off. So I'm going to have to rerun some wires there to get that all grounded properly. And that I'll do sooner rather than later. just when I get time here pretty soon. So the air compressor, man, this thing's been a basket case. So I got the wiring done on it. It was just kind of wired wrong. So I found the diagram for the motor and got that wired correctly. The covers, the cover on this is missing. They use these motors on spas as well. They're real common. So I was able to find a new cover from a spa place for it. So that's ordered. They lost the cover to this guy, the pressure switch. So I'm going to have to try to make some type of cover out of some sheet metal and plastic to cover those connections, because that's 240 volts. I don't want anybody to touch it and get shocked. The gauge was bad. I put in a new gauge I took all this off and apart and taped it and got the connections good and airtight. So then I kicked it on. I bought this nice water and oil resistant 12 gauge cord and a nice plug there, and then I used the squeeze connector to put it right on the side there of the pressure switch, so that's wired up all nice and strong now. But when I kicked it on, the motor spun but the compressor didn't go. So I discovered this broken belt right here. So it's obviously just gotten hot and worn through it on the one end. And so what I discovered is the compressor is supposed to hold about a half a quart of oil or just a little more. And it had like 2.5 quarts of oil in it. So it would spin for a while and then the compressor would lock. And then of course it ate through the belt on the motor. So I fixed that and got her charging up, and she comes up to about 80 pounds, so I need to adjust the pressure regulator, which is that one little screw right there in the middle, to get it up to 100 pounds. But when it cut off, air started coming out right here like crazy. So what this is your bleeder. So while it's pumping up, the bleeder closes when the pressure switch is engaged and turning the motor, and your air comes out of the compressor down a tube into the tank, and this little tube comes off the side of that connector, and then at the bottom of that tube is a ball valve that lets air go in the tank but not out. So that ball valve was bad. So as soon as it kicked off and it opened the bleeder, all the air from the tank started coming out this bleeder right here. So Campbell Hospital doesn't sell the ball valve anymore. It's listed as an obsolete part, as are most things on this compressor. So I found one on Amazon though that's the same size that will work. So that should be here tomorrow. But here's the ball valve. And this one really just used a piece of rubber to open and close. And this little piece of rubber here in the middle is just completely worn down and bad. There's the spring in the clip, and then there's the actual ball valve. So if you have a compressor, I've seen a lot of people make this mistake. Since the air is coming out on the side of that pressure switch, people will think that the pressure switch is bad, and they'll go spend like $50 replacing it, and it still does it. It's probably your ball valve. So always check that, and you just take it out and blow through it, and air should go one way but not the other. So hopefully that will fix it. I'll get the pressure switch adjusted. I'll get the cover on the motor. I'll make a cover for the pressure switch so that it's safe, and then it'll just go over there in the corner and get plugged in. There's a lot of water sloshing around in the tank. I got to drain it too. But I think that's going to be a good compressor. The thing really spins and pumps up fast, and it's noisy. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you know it's running, but it's nowhere near as noisy as that beast from Harbor Freight, that direct drive. That thing I got to put on hearing protection when I'm in here with it. That thing I'll be able to not have hearing protection on. Might have to turn my music up, but it'll all be good. So I've also got where they've plumbed all this on the side here. Come around here so you can see it, hopefully. I'm going to change that so this goes the other way, and then I'm going to put a pressure regulator here. And I'm going to put the male fitting here so that when you unplug the hose, you don't have to worry about leaking out. I don't even really need that, but I might leave it on there. So, yep, I'll get this all worked out. But anyway, that's where I'm at with everything, getting the garage kind of organized and redone. So I'm kind of excited. I can't wait to get this air compressor all up and running. The air filter here, of course, is missing. I found one on eBay that has a hole in the middle, and I can drill 2 holes. So it has the big hole in the middle, and I'll drill these 2 holes out, and it's a round one that'll fit up on there. Because, of course, they consider that an obsolete part as well. They don't carry it anymore. So, but all in all, I mean, I'm not going to have a whole ton of money in this. You know, a wire, connectors, some butt connectors, a belt, a ball valve, and it should be working. And a little time and stuff, of course. So, you know, I might have 50 bucks in it. And it's going to make a real nice compressor for getting things done. So, I am happy. Anyway, I guess that's all that's really going on. I'm just out here trying to clean up my mess and put all my tools away because I've just been working and throwing tools down the last few days, and it's gotten messy in here. Alright, I'll talk to y'all later. It's Tom, your frugal prepper. Be happy and be frugal out there.